What's going on YouTube? This is DomoOrange927 back again for another video. And here today guys, I want to discuss what would be considered by many to be the biggest tragedy of 2016 in my view anyways. And that game is Titanfall 2. This game launched and I think honestly it was one of the best games of 2016. It had everything I could have wanted out of the game. It had a solid single player, it had all the gameplay improvements for the multiplayer to the point where pretty much they listened to every criticism that was from the first game. They added a ton more worth of content, they had a real progression system, and honestly the game's value, especially with its free DLC deal, was fantastic. And really, it had like no corporate bullcrap. Like, even though it had like microtransactions in the game, they were actually microtransactions done right. It wasn't like complete corporate bullcrap. It was just, they're like, oh, if you want to buy this time skin here, you can get it for $2. Like, it's like nothing about the experience was taken away by it. And thanks to that, Titanfall 2, both critically and by the actual fan base it has, it's received real well. But I know that's not what this video is about. The video is about, if Titanfall 2 is as good as it is, why did it fail? Why is it a flop? And I think before people launch into it saying like it's not a flop, man, it's so good, like the Titanfall 2 fan, look, I'm a fan of the game as well, but realistically it did flop. It was nowhere near as financial success as it, as they were expecting or what it should have been. And more importantly, it wasn't that heard about. Like, most people were talking about the futuristic stuff with Call of Duty and Battlefield 1 and stuff. They weren't really discussing this game as much. And today I'm gonna discuss why that's the case. Well, the first clear mistake that the game made was the fact that it launched pretty much at the same time as Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. When you're a new rising franchise, launching at the same time as juggernaut shooters is not a good decision at all. And I don't know what they were thinking by doing it. I think maybe they were doing it just to cut off COD sales maybe, but honestly, Titanfall 2 got nowhere near as many sales as it could have been, or what it could have had if, for example, it launched, say, March of 2017 or something. Like, if it launched around the same time as Halo Wars 2, then I honestly think it would have done great financially and critically, because at the time of fall, pretty much there's these huge lineup of games, like tons of games, and pretty much thanks to that, basically you are gonna constantly have a stream where there's only so many you can buy. It's not like you can buy like 7 games in less than a week. Like, some people can, but the majority can't. So you have to pick and choose, and honestly, if people who can only pay for one game for like 3 months, and they're gonna have to choose between like Titanfall 2 or Battlefield 1, which one do you think they're gonna choose at that given moment? One's a brand new franchise that people don't know too much about. The other is a juggernaut shooter that is based on World War I and all that crap, and its marketing was insane. I'm sorry, as much as, they're gonna choose Battlefield 1 or Call of Duty for obvious reasons, because they're more well known. And so that's the first reason it flopped. The second reason is honestly pretty, it was somewhat obvious, but I think it's just stated of kind of how worried they were about the course of the game, which was the marketing was not that good for the game. Like, I do say that much. The marketing of Titanfall 2 was very vague, I guess, very bland. Not like much to it. It's like when you see the marketing, you don't expect that much. And ultimately, due to its marketing, it kind of caused the issue about it launching at the same time as Call of Duty and Battlefield. It caused that issue to be even worse than what it would have normally been, due to the fact that basically, pretty much, like, if you're a buyer, like I said, you're not going to buy a game that you don't know much about compared to a game that is like a juggernaut. It's just, you know, it's just video game logic. It's not even like a matter of it's good or bad or whatever, but it's just video game logic. Now, the third and final reason, this is kind of the one thing that no matter what, they can't change. Like, this is the final reason I think the game failed. And it's kind of the same reason Infinite Warfare failed. But with this game, I feel it's not deserved to be failed, because it is a big tragedy that it failed for this reason, which was, it's just the marketing was not welcoming enhanced mobility anymore. The gaming community was pretty much oversaturated with, pretty much, how to put it, it was basically completely consumed by enhanced mobility games. Pretty much, you know, for example, it launched the first Titanfall. Destiny also kind of had enhanced mobility, sort of. Then you had, like, Advanced Warfare having it, then you had, like, Halo 5 having it, and then Black Ops 3, and then, like, obviously, like, Infinite Warfare, and arguably even Star Wars Battlefront kind of has it. Like, they have jetpacks. I wouldn't really count it. It's just, you know, people are weird that way, I guess. But I'm just saying, by the time it was all said and done, people didn't want it anymore. And even if it's, like, fair or not, they're just gonna keep complaining about it, even if it's, like, you know. And it's sad, because Titanfall is, like, the one franchise that has the right to have it. Like, they're the one who started it, that started the trend, and they're the ones that, like, innovated on it. And then all of a sudden, when, pretty much, all of a sudden, the minute just because other shooters, like, rip it off and start, like, causing crap to happen, you know, basically, the game suffers for it. And honestly, I think it's a big tragedy for the community, because Titanfall 2 deserves a lot more. And I wish people would give it a lot more attention than it deserves. So, how can we fix this problem, guys? Well, for one thing, we need to give Titanfall 2 as much support as possible. Basically, they're in a position right now where they're still doing their post-launch content. Come back to the game. Like, come around to it. And more importantly, give nice community feedback. Talk about it with friends. Try to get the train rolling again. And more importantly, support it financially, in the sense where, I can't believe I'm saying this, but if you're a guy with a lot of money, buy something in that game. Like, I'm being legitimate. Like, as much as any other game, I would be like, no. This is the one game I am encouraging you. If there's a skin that you somewhat have an interest in getting that costs like $2, buy it. Because it's like, that money is going to developers to get more money, and hopefully this money can use to hopefully make a Titanfall 3 maybe one day. Or at the very least give better support to Titanfall 2. Because honestly, we need Titanfall 2 to thrive, because it is the one game that answers to everything we've complained about to the industry, with its DLC stuff, its campaign shortcomings in the industry, the fact that the multiplayer is, like, you know, doesn't use any creative effort. And Titanfall 2 addresses all of these issues in the industry, and yet the game itself still suffers for it. And yes, I think all these mistakes, most of them could have been easily avoided And yes, it is still the mistake of the publisher and the developers, more publishers in my view, but that shouldn't mean we should turn our backs on the game just because of those mistakes of timing. Because honestly, this game put in so much effort and it is worthy of every penny that it gets. So honestly, in my opinion, we just need to stand up and give it support. If you like Titanfall 2, then speak about it. Because this, my friends, this is the path to save gaming. When we actually give the games that are worthy credit. Titanfall 2 may have not been the game we needed, but it was the game we deserved. So, gentlemen, until then, Titanfall 2 must remain a guardian angel, a shadow within the industry, the gaming's dark knight. Tell me what you think, guys. This is Orange 927. Peace.